For most people, the name Dick's Sporting Goods means aisles of gleaming equipment, rows of sneakers, racks of jerseys, and the promise of athletic possibility. But behind the logo, behind the billion-dollar brand, lies a story of grit, risk, perseverance, and a man who turned his father's modest bait and tackle shop into a $20 billion empire. His name is Ed Stack, and the rules he lived by, they weren't always comfortable, they weren't always polite, but they built one of the most influential retail empires in America. This is the Legacy Code, and this is the story of how Ed Stack rewrote it. The story begins in 1948, when Richard "Dick" Stack opened a small fishing and sporting goods shop in Binghamton, New York. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't a gold mine, but it was his. By the 1980s, Dick was ready to retire. The store had survived, even thrived, in its small-town environment. And then, along came his son, Ed Stack. Ed wasn't handed the business like a crown prince inheriting a throne. He bought the company from his father in 1984, when the chain was just 2 stores. He put up $50,000 of his own money and took on a $300,000 loan. Here's where his first philosophy took root. Never rely on the kindness of strangers. Ed knew from day one that no one was going to swoop in and make his vision happen. If the business was going to grow, he would have to be relentless. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Ed expanded Dick's Sporting Goods beyond its initial small New York footprint. He bet on suburban shopping malls and big-box-style retail before it became mainstream. He believed the spreadsheet is not the customer, a lesson retail giants often forget. While analysts pored over numbers, Ed spent hours walking through stores, watching what families actually bought, listening to their questions, and studying their frustrations. He knew people weren't just buying fishing rods or baseball bats. People are rarely buying just your product, he would later say. They're buying the hope of a better game, the dream of Saturday victories, the experience of family time together. By 1990, Dick's Sporting Goods had expanded to 7 stores. By the end of the decade, there were more than 50. Ed's formula was a blend of boldness and caution. As he said, the recipe is boldness mixed with caution, risk without recklessness, growth without gambling the entire company. The year 2002 marked a turning point. Ed Stack took Dick's Sporting Goods public on the New York Stock Exchange. With the IPO, the company raised $116 million, valuing it at $1.3 billion. That kind of leap can either destroy a company or ignite it. For Ed, it did the latter, and yet he never lost his skepticism. All money comes with strings, he often reminded his team. Investment bankers weren't saviors, they were partners who would happily collect their pound of flesh. Investment bankers are not your friends. So, he played the game strategically, ensuring the company's vision remained in-house, not dictated by Wall Street analysts chasing quarterly numbers. This marked the beginning of Dick's Sporting Goods' transformation from a regional chain to a national powerhouse. What set Ed apart wasn't just growth, it was the philosophy behind it. He didn't just run a business, he lived by a playbook. Let's walk through some of his most powerful principles. 1. Your name is your biggest asset. He kept the company tied to his father's name. It wasn't about personal glory, it was about accountability. Every mistake, every triumph would be attached to the Stack family. That kind of legacy demands integrity. 2. Sometimes the most profitable decision on a spreadsheet is the worst decision for a business. Ed didn't gut his workforce to save money. He didn't cheapen the customer experience for short-term gains. He invested in stores, employees, and communities, knowing trust was a currency more valuable than temporary cost savings. 3. Trust isn't earned in the easy times. It's earned in the fire. When recessions hit, when the sporting goods industry took a dip, when e-commerce threatened brick-and-mortar stores, Ed's leadership shone brightest. He reassured employees, doubled down on innovation, and continued to build. 4. Problems are opportunities to add value. Competitors saw the rise of online shopping as a death sentence. Ed saw it as an opportunity to reinvent Dick's Sporting Goods through omnichannel retailing, curbside pickup, and digital-first customer service. 5. Always bet on yourself. When others doubted, Ed expanded. When rivals cut back, he opened more stores. When analysts said sporting goods retail was dead, he pushed harder. One of the defining moments of Ed Stack's career came in 2018, after the Parkland school shooting. Dick's Sporting Goods announced it would stop selling assault-style rifles and high-capacity magazines. It was a business risk that could alienate core customers. Wall Street criticized it. Gun rights groups protested it, but Ed stood firm. Do right for the company. Do right for society. You can't prosper unless the community around you prospers. The decision wasn't about spreadsheets. It was about principle, and in time, it earned respect. It showed that Dick's Sporting Goods wasn't just a retailer. It was a brand with a conscience. Ed never forgot the underdog spirit. Give the underdog a chance. They want it more. He applied this not only to hiring but to strategy. Competing against giants like Walmart and Amazon, Dick's leaned into service, expertise, and community involvement. And he was right. By 2021, Dick's Sporting Goods was the largest sporting goods retailer in the United States, with revenues topping $12 billion. By 2023, its market cap soared past $20 billion, all from a bait-and-tackle shop that started with $300 and a dream. What Ed Stack left behind wasn't just a company, it was a philosophy. The moment a business stops evolving, the moment its leaders sit back and think, everything's good, that's when it starts to fail. Dick's Sporting Goods continues to evolve, investing in digital growth, expanding private label brands, and building experiences that make customers feel part of something bigger than a transaction. His legacy is proof that every business is someone's irrational dedication. For Ed, that irrational dedication built an empire, from skepticism of bankers to loyalty to his employees, to bold risks in the face of social controversy. Ed Stack proved that principles don't hold you back in business. They propel you forward. And above all, he lived by one final mantra: play the game to win. So the next time you step into a Dick's Sporting Goods, remember, it's not just a store. It's the living embodiment of a philosophy forged in fire, risk, and unwavering belief. Ed Stack turned a father's shop into a $20 billion empire, not because he had a perfect roadmap, but because he had the courage to bet on himself, to learn from mistakes without being defined by them, and to never stop evolving. That's the legacy code, and it's one worth remembering. If you got value from this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe. This way, we can continue this journey together. Thank you for watching.